Hi everyone. I'm going to talk some about leather fragrances today, and this is because I'm running 50% off leather scents in the shop. Hi, welcome. In the Etsy shop and on the website today. So the code is just leather at checkout on the website to get 50% off, and it includes the leather fixative. And I also decided to extend the gardenia sale. It's not in the Etsy shop, but on the website. Hi, welcome. So the code on the website for the gardenia sale is gardenia 50. If you still wanted to get in on that one, you can look at the email that went out, or just remember the code is gardenia 50, but it's not advertised. But if you get a gardenia fragrance or want to get some of the enfleurage, you can use that code and it'll still be active. So I wanted to talk about some of the botanical sources of leather, and then talk about 3 leather perfumes. I'm going to do Venus and Mars, Mars and Venus, which are basically the same scent, and then Winter Leather and Witch, and then talk about a few leather words, like leather descriptors that I created that are in my Lexicon of Smell, which is also on my website. And leather sometimes, I think, can be viewed as like synonymous with smoky fragrances, and to me they're not. So leather is like a heavier, deeper scent, whereas like smoke is more airy and fire. Leather has like more material to it. It's got animalic qualities, which smoke doesn't always have. And those animalic qualities can be conveyed through botanicals, so you don't have to use animal sources. I do have woolen absolutes that I did in-house from raw, unwashed sheep's wool, different types of sheep. And of course that's an animalic that doesn't really harm the animal because they need to be shorn. So you can get leathery scents from animal sources too. But I wanted to talk about the choyas, which are really interesting. Another source besides the choyas is costus root, which is probably like the primary source of botanical leather. It doesn't have smoky qualities per se. It's got a really deep resinous amber kind of a chord. It's more than just a note. And then it has like a rooty aspect that's similar to angelica root, and it has some of the like acrid tones that you might associate with like tanned leather. So pretty masculine, almost urinous. And then the choyas are, of course, smoked botanicals. So, and then costus root is a botanical. Choya, there's 3 that I know of. Choya Nak, and that's Nakh, which is smoked seashells. And so that's got a briny, like ambergris quality combined with the smoke. And these have leathery elements too. That's why I'm talking about them. And then there's Choya Loban, which is dry distilled Indian frankincense, which is Boswellia serrata. And that one, as you can imagine, has the qualities of frankincense, the kind of lemony, woody aromatics, but a very dry, smoky aspect. And then probably the most leathery of the 3 is Choya Raw, which is, hey Artemis, my cat's meowing, which is either spelled R-A-L or R-A-A-L, and it's the smoke of the Sharia robusta tree. And that one has kind of a very rich, almost oily scent, this leathery and smoky. And I love that one. I love to use it in for like a smoky leather note. And you can find that in my perfume Revenant, which is a smoky, leathery floral. not everyone's cup of tea, but if you like that kind of like the incense with the leather plus like orange blossom and jasmine, then that might be a perfume for you. So I'm gonna go from least smoky leather to a little bit more smoky. So I'm gonna start out with Venus and Mars, which is a it's kind of like a warm saddle perfume. So if you like that type of scent, like it evokes horseback riding. And I'm using the liquid versions of these perfumes just so that I can get the top notes right away. And this one is not a vegan perfume. So it does have civet in it as well as oud. The other two are vegan that I'm going to be testing. And it has caraway in it, which can kind of elevate some leathery notes because it's pretty much a top note. So so you have this kind of lightness to it. I think of this one as a summer leather scent. So there's orange blossom in it, as well as the oud, the civet. There's tobacco in it, and there's a grassiness. And so you've got like kind of like almost like tobacco, a feeling of like horseback riding in tobacco fields, like in the August sun. There's no smoke, so if you want a leather fragrance without smoke, this is definitely one I would gravitate towards. And of course, with the orange blossom and the jasmine, it's a floral leather. Hi, sweetie. What's wrong? You can't go outside. No, we're not going outside right now. My cat wants to go outside. So if you like that warm, like sun-drenched saddle aroma, kind of like an older leather scent, but it's still very like the leather is old. The scent itself doesn't smell old. It's got this, it does have a youthful quality. I think of it as a very erotic scent. And the oud has this particular oud has grassy notes, so that's contributing to the grassiness of the scent. So that's Venus and Mars, Mars and Venus. And then next I'm gonna do winter leather. And I kind of picked these also because I think of Venus and Mars as like a summer scent, winter leather, obviously a winter scent, and then witch I think of as a fall or autumn scent. So this one is a little bit, I would say, not quite smoke, but it's got some of the like acridity and the sharpness of some leathers, and the leather in Venus and Mars is very rounded and soft. So winter leather, a little bit harsher, kind of to, go with that season. And this is in the aromatic and spicy category. So you've got juniper berry in there, pine needles and fir. And I wanted to create the feeling of being like in a ski lodge and like taking off like your ski boots, or which are leather, like old kind of fashion ski boots, or like coming in from like snowshoeing in like old fashioned snowshoes where you might have like rawhide on the snowshoe, and coming into like a wood cabin or a wood lodge, and there's a fire burning, but you still might have like some of those like winter botanicals like caught in your ski cap, like the juniper and the fir, spruce. And there's, coming through now, there's like a warm candle scent. So almost like the fattiness and the waxiness of candle that's been warmed. Like a little bit of a tallow scent. This one I would say I think all three of these are pretty gender neutral. This one might be like the most overtly masculine leaning. And then I'll do witch last. And witch is by far the smokiest scent. It's one of my smokiest perfumes. It's a smoky amber leather, and again, this one is botanical. So if you get the liquid version, it's vegan. The solid version has raw beeswax in it. This one also has Palo Santo and galbanum, so there's a little bit of like greenness and that wood polish scent in the top notes. Yeah, so pretty smoky, and like so I wanted to create like a metallic note too, so like this kind of alloyed scent, but it's not really harsh. I like smoky scents, and the smoke does dissipate into this like tonka kind of ball of fire. And it's not spicy, so it's a real smoky amber. That's how I would characterize it. And then that smoke combined with the amber is what conveys the leather. So there isn't any costus root in it, and there's no animalic source of leather. It's the amber that's giving like the weight and the heft to the smoke. And then I also wanted to create, like going with the autumn theme for witch, and the tonka helps with this, the feeling of like, this fire might involve some straw, or you might be like near a barn. It's not really like an animalic like barnyard, like where there's like, you know, like manure or something, but more of like the warmth of like the straw and the structure of the barn. So those are the three perfumes. And then a lot of times, like with scent, we kind of like find that we're like at a loss for like adequate descriptors. So I started working on a lexicon of smell, which you can look at. It's available as a link in the menu of my website. And I have some leather words that I created, for most of the words, I think in the lexicon so far, I've put like the etymology, like so how I created the word, like the root words that I used, because I didn't want them to come from like a meaningless place. And so I have some leather words that I'm just gonna share with you. It's by no means exhaustive, which like originally I did want it to like, I wanted to come up with like all the possible descriptors for scent. And this will probably be a sporadic work in progress for the rest of my life. But so the ones that I have, they're definitely like focused. I was clearly thinking about one specific type of leather and coming up with words to describe that, and didn't really get beyond that. But so the first one I have is coriacealt, which is spelled Coriacealt, and it's a noun. And I'm getting a notification of a poor connection, so I'm just gonna wait. Okay, and it's a noun. And I describe it as the leathery coral seawater scent of a leatherback sea turtle. And I took it from the Latin coriacea, which means leathery, and then also the words coral and salt. So a combination of like leather, coral, and like the saltiness of seawater. And then the next leather word that I invented was dotabendle, D-O-T-A-B-E-N-D-L-E. And that one's a noun, and it refers to a leathery, muscular, and aquatic smell characteristic of skates, rays, and sharks. And the etymology of that is from Chordata, which is the phylum that includes a lot of different animals, but it includes like fish, so that would include the skates and rays and sharks, and then also diurnal denticles, which are like the toothed coverings of those types of animals, and then bend, so kind of how their bodies are like bendy, and then also the word bundle. So that's the etymology of dotabendle, that leathery, muscular, and aquatic smell. And then the next one I have is manatush, and I guess this is where I stopped doing the etymology. And that one is spelled M-A-N-A-T-U-S-H, and it's an adjective meaning smelling rubbery, leathery, and aquatic and earthy, like a manatee. So more of like a brackish water smell, and I also think of manatees as, you know, they're herbivores, so eating like lots of lettuce, as opposed to say like dotabendle, which would be like the more like the carnivorous, like the shark, skates, and rays. And then the last one, I think this is the last one, is rawtelide, and that's spelled R-A-W-T-E-L-I-D-E. That one is a noun, and I wanted it to describe the scent of leather mixed with bills and coins characteristic of a wallet, billfold, or change purse. So, and you can, I don't have the etymology written down here, but I'm pretty sure I got it from like rawhide and then like inverting the T-E-L in wallet. So, so those are my leather descriptors. I'd be interested if anyone else has any like leather specificity, like any like specific leather smells that are important to them or really stand out in a memory. And I'm always open to taking contributions to the Lexicon of Smell. So keeping with the theme of leather, if you have any, feel free to send me a message or comment. And so that's it. Thank you. Bye.